whole world. If Sonny Liston whoops me, I'll kiss his feet in the rain. I'm all out of the rain on my knees.
Before he was ever dubbed the greatest, Muhammad Ali was just a loud-mouthed underdog named Cassius Clay, and in 1964, he found himself up against the most terrifying heavyweight champion in history, Sonny Liston. No one thought he had a chance, but what happened that night changed everything for him. This is the story of Ali versus Sonny Liston, the fight that shook up the world. Be sure to watch this video to the end and don't forget to click the like and subscribe button. Muhammad Ali, born as Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. on January 17, 1942 in Louisville, Kentucky, had a childhood that shaped him into the fighter and icon the world would later know. He grew up with his younger brother, Rudy, in a segregated America where racism was an everyday reality. His mother, Odessa, once told a story about how he was denied a drink of water just because of his skin color. That moment stuck with him. His father, Cassius Sr., was a sign painter, and his mother worked as a domestic helper. Even though his dad was a Methodist, his mom raised him and his brother as Baptists. School wasn't easy for young Cassius. He had dyslexia, which made reading and writing a struggle. But what really changed his life was a stolen bicycle. At 12 years old, Cassius was furious when someone stole his bike. He told a local police officer, Joe Martin, that he was going to beat up whoever stole it. Instead of letting him go out looking for a fight, Martin, who was also a boxing coach, suggested he learn how to box first. At first, Cassius didn't take it too seriously, but after watching some amateur boxers on TV, he got interested. That led him to trainer Fred Stoner, who helped shape his style, stamina, and technique. From there, he took off. Cassius had his first fight in 1954, winning by split decision. He went on to win multiple Gold Glove titles, national championships, and eventually a gold medal at the 1960 Olympics in Rome. But his homecoming was bittersweet. He was still treated as a second-class citizen in America because of his race. There's a famous story that he threw his gold medal into the Ohio River after being refused service at a whites-only restaurant. His Olympic victory didn't change how he was seen in his own country. That frustration, mixed with his deep confidence and ambition, set the stage for the legend he would become. Muhammad Ali wasn't just a great fighter. He was a master of getting inside his opponent's head, and no one felt that more than Sonny Liston. Before their fight in 1964, Ali, who was still known as Cassius Clay at the time, made sure Liston never had a moment's peace. He didn't just talk trash, he turned it into an art form, messing up Liston's perception of himself. He called Liston the Big Ugly Bear and said he was going to use him as a rug after he beat him. He even went as far as saying that if he lost, he'd crawl out of the ring on his knees and leave the country. And he didn't stop at just words. Ali actually bought a bus, painted "Liston must go in 8" on the side, and drove it right to Liston's house at 3 a.m. Imagine waking up to a 22-year-old shouting outside your home with a bunch of reporters in tow. During press conferences, Ali made sure to be as loud, animated, and unpredictable as possible. He would shout, rhyme, and act wild while Liston sat there, growing angrier by the second. Liston wasn't used to this kind of opponent. Most fighters feared him, but Ali just made a joke out of him before they even got into the ring. And that was exactly the point. This wasn't just random behavior. Ali had a plan. He learned from a professional wrestler named Gorgeous George that people would pay to see someone they either loved or hated. So Ali played the villain to perfection. He did it to Liston, but also to others. He called Henry Cooper a bum, said another fighter was so bad he was embarrassed to share the ring with him, and once claimed Madison Square Garden was too small for someone like him. He made every fight feel like a must-watch event. Sonny Liston's early life was rough, really rough. He was born around 1930, but no one knows for sure when. Birth records weren't a big deal back then in rural Arkansas, so even Sonny himself wasn't exactly sure of his age. Some census records suggest he was born in 1930, while others say he might have been even older than he claimed. He grew up in a sharecropping family, which basically meant back-breaking farm work for little to no money. His father, Toby Liston, was much older than his mother, Helen, and had a total of 25 kids from 2 different marriages. Sonny was the second youngest out of his mother's 12 children, but that didn't make life any easier. His father was brutally abusive, so much so that Sonny still had scars from the beatings decades later. Sonny once said, "The only thing my old man ever gave me was a beating." By the time he was a teenager, his mother had moved to St. Louis to find work, but Sonny was left behind with his father. Eventually, he decided to join her. He picked pecans for his brother-in-law's tree, sold them, and used the money to get to St. Louis, but school didn't go well. He struggled to read and write, and after being mocked for it, he dropped out. Jobs were hard to come by, and soon he turned to crime. Already known to have a violent reputation, he led a gang that committed muggings and armed robberies, and the police nicknamed him the Yellow Shirt Bandit because of what he wore during his crimes. In 1950, he was caught and sentenced to 5 years in prison. But oddly enough, prison turned out to be a turning point. He never complained about it, saying at least he got 3 meals a day. While there, a Catholic priest named Rev Alois Stevens saw potential in Sonny and encouraged him to try boxing. Sonny had raw power, and during a sparring match with a professional fighter, the guy begged to be taken out of the ring. Sonny was that strong. With Stevens' support, Sonny got an early parole and started boxing seriously. He had a short but explosive amateur career, winning the Chicago Golden Gloves and even taking down an Olympic champion. By 1953, he was fighting internationally and making a name for himself. A coach once said Sonny was the strongest fighter he had ever seen, and that power would later turn him into one of the most feared heavyweight champions in history. Before facing Sonny Liston, Muhammad Ali had no professional world titles, just youth, ridiculous confidence, and a big mouth. But that didn't stop him from believing he could pull off one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. Back then, Ali was still known as Cassius Clay, and almost no one thought he had a chance. Liston was a monster in the ring. He had knocked out the former champ Floyd Patterson in the first round, twice. Meanwhile, Clay had struggled in his last couple of fights. The odds were stacked against him, but Ali didn't care. At the weigh-in, Ali was so hyped up that his pulse was racing at 120 beats per minute, double his usual. People thought he was actually scared and might not even show up for the fight. When the bell rang, Liston came out swinging, looking for a quick knockout, but Ali was too fast. He danced around Liston, dodging punches and making the champ look slow and clumsy. By the third round, Ali landed a combination that buckled Liston's knees and even cut him under the eye, something no one had ever done before. Then something weird happened. Ali's eyes started burning. He could barely see and even asked his trainer to cut off his gloves so he could quit. His trainer, Angelo Dundee, refused and told him to keep fighting. It's been rumored that Liston's corner put something on his gloves to blind Ali, but no one knows for sure. Ali survived the round, and by the 6th, he was back in control. landing punch after punch. Then, at the start of the 7th round, Liston didn't get up from his stool. He quit. Just like that, 22-year-old Cassius Clay was the heavyweight champion of the world. He ran around the ring shouting, "I shook up the world, I am the greatest." Liston claimed he quit because of a shoulder injury, but Ali wasn't buying it. When Joe Louis told him Liston's arm was thrown out of his socket, Ali laughed and said, "Yeah, swinging at nothing, who wouldn't?" A year later, they had a rematch, but this one was even crazier. By then, Clay had changed his name to Muhammad Ali, and the fight had already been postponed once because of a medical issue. When it finally happened, it lasted less than 2 minutes. Ali hit Liston with what people call the phantom punch, a quick right hand that knocked Liston to the ground. The referee didn't start counting right away because Ali wouldn't go to a neutral corner, so Liston got back up. But a few seconds later, the referee stopped the fight, saying Liston had been down for over 10 seconds. To this day, people argue about whether that punch really knocked Liston out. Some say he took a dive, either because of mob ties, gambling debts, or even threats from the Nation of Islam. Others say Ali just caught him with a perfect shot. Either way, Ali had beaten Liston again, this time in under 2 minutes. And just like that, the legend of Muhammad Ali only grew bigger. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more stories on the greatest moments in boxing history. Where does Ali's win over Liston rank among the biggest upsets of all time? Tell us what you think in the comments.